Vegas.
Hey, Vegas, baby.
Thank you all so much for your support. If you haven't already, follow us on our social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Third Shot Podcast. We're also on X at Third Shot Pod. So, Russ, we miss you over here, but we can do a toast
There we
as
go.
if you were here.
That's
Exactly.
right. Cheers.
It looks like you guys are drinking different things.
We are.
Okay.
Yes.
We
So you're
got
drinking the hard stuff, Greg, and Bridgie, you're not?
I'm never drinking the hard stuff. Well, mine's pretty like
Oh, nice. Okay, so
black coffee. That's
wow,
hard.
you're gonna be up all night.
actually I'm not drinking hard stuff. I am drinking this blood orange soda from Italy.
You're in Vegas. What are you
Oh, I
doing?
know. It's early. I just got here.
He's pacing himself.
That's good.
We got to play some pickleball this week. I can't be messed up on the first night. So,
You know, we were talking about we always like, we chat before the show and plan out what we're going to talk about, but I just realized that we're kind of doing this tech type show today with
Mhm.
what we're doing. And the two of you have the lowest tech AirPods ever. The way that this is set up.
Hey.
You're connected by a cord. This is kind of entertaining to me.
I
Well,
know.
you know what's funny about that is we're hiding the cans behind, so you can actually see that the cord is actually cutting cans to our ears, and that's how we're hearing each other.
Right.
Right.
Nice.
So, Russ, you just came back from
I did.
somewhere.
I did. I just got back from Austin. I did a little tech convention down there where they weren't wearing the same AirPods for everyone, but
Yeah, maybe you can show us what we can do instead.
For the software file maker that I love so much, that we talk about over on our business show. Just got back from a thing down there, but we saved the business talk for the business podcast. Over here it's like we got to talk about the barbecue, and oh man, it was so good.
Wait a second. What's the name of that business podcast you're referring to?
Oh, DIY for Business.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah.
A couple of good
Good
posts over there. You should check it out. But yeah, I mean, wow, it was amazing. The brisket, of course, was amazing. The ribs, amazing. Like, I went to Terry Black's, one of the best barbecue places on the planet. It was so good. And yeah, I'm gonna need to play a lot more pickleball to work all that off. It's wow.
Did you see any? I know that in Austin, pickleball is pretty big out there too, but they're also like combining it with that like atmosphere of being outside and live music and barbecue. Did you get to see any of those spots?
I did actually. I looked around a little bit for that. It's funny. My son. Okay, so there's this guy Ryan Trahan who's on YouTube. My son loves watching him. I love watching him. He does this whole thing called the penny series where he takes a penny and he trades the penny for a pen and then the pen for $1, and then eventually he's like trying to get back home in this whole mission thing, or like across the country, or some sort of mission, right? And he always goes to this certain track, and so he's like, hey, you should stop by that track. It looks like you're going to be right near it. I'm like, okay, I'll drive by. We'll see if we can see Ryan Trahan. I'll get an autograph for you, or FaceTime you with Ryan or whatever. Went by there, checked it out. Went to that. So that was on it's like on a high school campus right along the river there. So I didn't get to see a pickleball court, but they did have like these signs leading towards some sort of pickleball something. I don't exactly know what it was, but it looked really cool. And the problem was I like kind of hit the roads are a little crazy down there. I'm not totally used to them. So I'm going, like right. And this was left. And I tried to get back around to go see it, but I couldn't quite get over there. But it looked sort of similar to what you're talking about, where it had the, pickleball thing, and it looked like a food truck out there or something. I'm like, okay,
Oh, fun.
now that's a win.
Yeah. I read a stat somewhere that Austin is the #1 city for pickleball growth in the state of Texas right now, and #4 in the country.
Oh, wow.
For pickleball growth. So it's really growing in Austin, but not like barbecue. Let me get back to what's important here. So name the place you went to, and how does that compare to Franklin's, where you've been before, which is known to be like one of the top
Oh
places?
yeah. So Franklin's is amazing. It's awesome. I love it. Can't say a bad thing about it. Terry Black's though was the one that we went to this time. Uh, Actually, I guess the bad thing I can say about Franklin's is the line, and that's the only reason why I didn't go to it. Didn't have time to wait in like a 2-hour line to get the barbecue. Terry Black's was pretty quick. I got off the plane at like I don't know 9 p.m. and 9:30 I was eating barbecue. I just rented the
Wasting no
car and got
time.
there. I'm like, this is happening.
But is
And
there
then
a
I went
difference in the
again.
flavor?
What's that?
Is there a difference in the flavor or how they
Well,
do it,
so
or what's the deal?
it's I mean, all barbecue down there is fantastic. I would say, I don't know. I mean, it's like the sides sort of make a difference. I felt like there was a better selection of sides a little bit at this place, but
Mm,
I can't really remember. Like it's been like 2 years or 3 years or something like that since I've been to Franklin's, but um, I liked I liked all of it. I would say if you're going to Austin, don't make a choice. Go to both. Like hit up Franklin's early, get in the line, do the whole like, have a beer and sit in a lawn chair and like wait the 2 hours. Have that for lunch, have Terry Blacks for dinner, and you've had a
wow.
fantastic day. Like that's what I would do if you're heading over to Austin. Maybe squeeze pickleball in there somewhere, but or maybe that's the
Well,
next day to work it all off.
I can attest to the Terry Blacks because I do have a friend who lives out in Austin. And the last time I visited him, he took me there and I was like, oh my gosh, like
Really?
if anything's
Yeah.
gonna bring you back to Austin, I think it might be the food.
Oh yeah, totally, totally. Well, plus the view from Terry Black's, like you're on the like out there on the deck, you can see the
Mhm.
whole cityscape of Austin. It's
That's
amazing.
cool.
It's very cool. And it's such like, I don't know, the whole city is so just tech geared as well. So they talk about the food, they talk about, the food trucks, the barbecue, the music, like that's what people talk about. But there's so much tech. Like you look at that skyline and you've got like
Mhm.
Google and I don't know, Indeed was up there. A couple of other, like well recognized brand names were up there. I was at the Apple campus because that's who owns FileMaker. So I got to, see some of that, and it just feels like such a tech capital out there in Austin. There's so much going on. I think Tesla's out
Yeah.
there now too.
I've heard it be called like the mini Silicon Valley or like the Silicon Valley part 2 because after that kind of got filled up out in California, then they needed some more space and they've settled in Austin. But tech is totally taking over. One of my coworkers just came back from a conference and similar to you, she reported first back about the food. She was where was she? In New Orleans actually.
Oh
So,
yeah,
great food there, and she was showing me all these pictures, and I was like, "Okay, well, what about, like, the
Uh,
conference?
New
Like,
Orleans
what did
food.
you learn?" And she said the hottest topic out right now was the utilization of AI, and
Mm,
she's one who goes to ChatGPT and has kinda shown me how to utilize it to enhance our work. And I guess a lot of camps are using AI to write their curriculum, like youth
mm,
camp, summer camps, they all turn to AI to create what they're teaching kids, which is
wow,
amazing.
yeah,
okay. Y- Okay, I got a little pet peeve here because I'm just going off of what my daughters have told me, right? And one just graduated college, one's in college right now, and they're telling me like the teachers, the curriculum is it really even them coming
mhm,
up with the curriculum now? Is it AI? Is it all just computer driven? You don't even have to do it in person. You don't have to come to class anymore. You just kind of read stuff that gets sent to you, or you're watching
yeah.
video on YouTube, and then you're just taking tests. Is AI? What do you guys think? Is AI kind of changing the way education is going to happen, where it's just not as needed to have a professor anymore?
I, I I think you still like. I look at AI like okay. I was just saying this because we're dealing with a lot of AI at the company I'm with. We're um, there's a lot of projects that we have that we're working with various bits around AI, whether it's recommendation engines or artificial intelligence, like just, coming up with written text or whatever. I, I feel like those companies that are like letting people go, that are like saying it's okay, like we don't need you anymore because you've now been replaced by AI, are going to be like in a problem situation in a few years, and they're going to need those people back, or they're going to need,
Okay.
those types of positions back. I think it's the same with this thing. I think we're diving in a little too deep, and I
Too
think
fast.
that, yeah, well, for me, I think AI, like the human part of it, the last 10% is more important than anything that the AI is doing. And yes, it can speed you up, and yes, it can do things, but it's like how you look at the data and how you analyze that data, and turn that into whatever it is. So if it's a professor, it's okay, the curriculum was created by AI, but the professor is still taking it that last mile. And maybe the AI, like, I don't know, I was just talking about, hallucinations, that AI has, right? So, it'll give you the wrong answer. It'll think something, is incorrect. It's like, whatever. It looks up, you type in, tell me a thing about pickleball, and it'll tell you about a ball that's made out of a dill pickle. Like it'll screw things up, right? So you
Yeah.
you have to keep training it, and moving it forward, and have that last sanity check at the last minute and turn it into something. So I don't think it could, but I think for, and wow, I'm outing your daughter's professors, but I think the lazy ones,
Right,
the
right,
lazy ones will do that because it's like, okay, well, this is the easy way out. Let me just do that, you know? And I think so. I think you still need, a professor. I guess the curriculum. I mean, I have a friend that writes curriculum, so I kind of hate to say that that can be replaced too, because then she's out of a job. But, I think that there's certain aspects of every position that could be replaced, but still you need the human touch in there.
Yeah, I agree. I think it should really be utilized more as a tool or, something that helps you with your job rather than
Right.
replacing someone's job. And I do think it's a bit hypocritical for teachers to say, like, let me write my curriculum and do everything using AI, but then on the syllabus that they pass out saying, like, you can't
No.
use
Right.
chat GPT to write your papers, or you can't use X, Y, and Z because that's like, you know,
Mhm.
copying.
Mhm.
And so I don't know, maybe as it starts being more incorporated into positions, we need to do a little bit better as to how we're using it.
Yeah. Yeah,
yep.
definitely. Well, I think, like, letting the cat out of the bag here as far as what we're talking about today on the rest of the show of, looking at the data of how you play pickleball and showing you how many shots you have and where you have those shots. That is just making you a better player. It's not playing the game for you.
Right.
Like, if it's playing the game for you, well, then what's the point? But it's actually making you a better player because you're seeing and analyzing each time you hit the ball. Like, that's pretty cool. And I think that's the same thing on the college campus, right? It's like, well, it can make you a better professor. Doesn't have to make you
Mm,
one, like it can improve everything. It can make your game better by looking
right.
at it.
I like that. I like where you're going with it.
Okay, so that said, I'll do my typical line. Hey Greg, what's coming up on the show today? As if I don't know.
Well, not so coincidentally, we are.
What? What? I looked it up on ChatGPT. That's how I know.
Yeah. We have Mike Arney, who has created software, an app that helps you analyze your pickleball game. You send him video. I'm going to let Mike explain it, but he is the CEO of PB Vision, and he will be with us right after this quick break. Thanks everybody for hanging out during the break. We always appreciate the support that you're providing all of us on social media. That's Instagram, that's Facebook, that's X. Now we're on YouTube. Fantastic support you've been providing us on YouTube. So thank you. I think YouTube is going to be especially pertinent for this interview that we have with Mike Arney, the CEO of PB Vision. Mike, welcome to the show.
Hey, Greg, Bridgie. Thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm excited to talk about what we got going on.
Yeah, we've got a lot of great questions for you, and I'm sure we can go all night
I
asking them
know.
because it's such an interesting topic. But before
Yeah.
we dive into it, we're going to do a quick toast to this newest technology,
Okay.
PB Vision.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Is that the real
So-
stuff?
Mine is coffee. I've got to stay
Okay.
up tonight.
No,
What are you
Sunday
drinking
night.
over there?
It was Sunday night, but I'm like, I can have one beer. It's okay.
That's a good Sunday
Yeah.
evening drink for
Nice.
sure. So, Mike, you've got this wonderful technology that's going to help out a lot of different pickleball players in many different ways. But how did you first get started in pickleball?
Oh yeah, great question. Well, I've heard this story 100 times from different people, but I was visiting my mother down in Arizona, and she said, "Oh, we should come try this." And of course, I said, "Oh no, it's for old people, right?" Like everybody has this story. So I actually was a little bit even more dramatic about it, and I just didn't play. I said, I'm just not going to do it. And she didn't push too hard. But anyway, I regret that to this day because then, 2 years later, I think is when some friends of mine here locally just decided to go pick up some paddles. We got the Monarch paddles down at the sporting goods store and had a little neighborhood group. The court's just down the road, and we walked down there, and I was just hooked. Plain and simple. Probably the second time we played, I was just, so into it. And so that was about 2 years ago now. And caught the bug, started playing competitively, moved up a level to our local high school gym and played on the wood floors there. That was the big time. And again, that common story of I got beat on by retirees twice my age, which I was very humbled by. And but more than anything was just having a great time. And
Yeah.
the addiction momentum kept going. And this well, anyway, that's kind of my backstory. I play a lot, probably more than I should, 10 to 15 hours a week, and get get right up to that point of like, I think I'll cause injury if I keep playing, so I should probably stop. And yeah, I'm hopeless. I've just fully, the bug is fully bit me. So
Well, you have the bug in a bad way because you decided to actually create a company around that bug to help people that are addicted, just like the three of us are. Tell everybody
yes.
a little bit about PB Vision and what it, start with how you decided to actually create PB Vision, and then
Sure.
tell people what PB Vision does.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never thought about it that way. I'm really just perpetuating this addiction, but
Yeah.
it's a positive one. I'm
It
convinced
is,
of that.
yes. We like it.
Right. So in my journey from 3.5 to 4.0, we had a local coach here. I did his, boot camp. It was a great experience. And then towards the end of the boot camp, one day a week for a couple hours. And then towards the end of the experience, we were evaluated. And he had his clipboard and a piece of paper and a pencil, and was watching all of us, hit deep serves, deep returns, our thirds, a few other parameters that I can't remember exactly, but it was it's one of those checklists, right? The 4.0 checklist. And the thought just really kind of occurred to me at that point that he's doing this manually. From what I know of some pieces of technology, this could be automated, right? Like this particular little thing that he was doing. Um, so a camera can detect a ball, a camera can detect players in a court, and it can kind of map all those things. So if it can detect a shot, then it can do what he was doing, basically. Um, so that was kind of the first little idea that I ran with. Uh, and then I decided at that point to really just kind of vet the idea. So I experimented a bit. I talked to some people that were much more knowledgeable than I am. I'm not a coder. I don't write code. But I at least, I know what can be done, I think, or I was able to in this case. And from there, it was kind of like, okay, there's actually more that can be done here than I anticipated. So then it started to roll into more of this idea of, let's say, analytics or virtual coaching or uh, AI assisted suggestions, whatever. It encompasses quite a lot of things, and we haven't we haven't quite nailed down exactly what the tagline is, but yeah. So the tech can do a lot. That's where it came from, and yeah, now we're well on our way to having something that's pretty mature and robust, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds like you have a background in tech. Is that kind of what got your mind started on it? Because you've only been playing for 2 years, and in my mind, something like this would take like I don't know how long to develop, but it sounds so easy for you. Is there a background in it?
Yeah, so my day job is in user interface and user experience design. So I've been designing and, well, yeah, designing, not so much building, but contributing to the building of digital apps for 15 years now or so. Um, I say apps, we're websites, web apps, any kind of digital product that you basically interact with, whether it's on your laptop or on your phone. So we've gotten good at that. I'm okay with saying I'm good at it, and so that was a big part, right? I don't think that these things can be done well if they are not user friendly. No matter how good the tech is, if you can't, everybody knows this now, right? If you can't open up an app and learn how to use it within the first 5 seconds, it's out the door, right? It's deleted from your home screen as fast as you can install it. So that capability was really helpful, I think, in pushing me towards doing this.
Definitely. So yeah, I was drawn to this technology when I saw your social media posts and was following PP Vision. I was like, this is really, really cool. This is the future. This is something that I would want to use. So tell everybody like what the process is to use PB Vision because I recorded I recorded one of my matches, but walk people through the process.
Yeah, so the process is as simple as we can make it. You just need any kind of smartphone. You hook it up to a tripod. It needs to have kind of a stable base. You get your court in the frame, so all four corners are within the video frame. You hit record. You play your game. You stop the recording, and then you send the video to us with your email, and then we send you back a analytics report. Um, so that's the 5 or so step process that we've got in place. And then the other option is going to be from a facility. So we're hoping to have some integrations coming out pretty soon where you can go to your favorite or your least favorite facilities management booking
Yeah.
software and um, book your court. And then one of the options will also be for recording, and then another option may be for an analytics report. So we're pretty excited that that's going to be incorporated into a lot of tech that you find in facilities over the coming years here.
This might be a good opportunity for you to share for all the people watching video. We'll explain it to people that are just listening right now.
Yeah,
But what a sample match might look like and some of the analytics that come with it.
yeah, sure, happy to. So basically, so it's either mobile or it's on your desktop. Like I said, you would submit this video, you would get a link in your email, and when you do get that link, you get your video replay. We cut out all the rallies, so you don't have any dead space in between the rallies. We
That's cool.
we show you your highlight rallies, and that is based on number of shots and the length of the rally itself. So if you've got a really great back and forth, that's gonna probably show up here underneath the highlighted rally links. We've got an overview page where we're identifying the players. We're giving you an opportunity. So this by default it would say player 1 2 3 4. Then you can go through here and change the names, the correct name of the person,
Right.
assuming they want their name on there.
Right.
Always recommend that you definitely get obviously consent from everybody that you're playing with.
I just feel bad for the guys that, I record and they just have one of those bad matches. They're never going to be giving their name. They're going to say, no, you are not using my name.
Do not
Uncle
doing
Greg,
that.
you cannot
John
post
Doe.
this.
Well,
So
you
we
know,
got to use AKAs here.
yeah, it's interesting, right? Like with Duper, well, I'll come back to that.
Okay.
But we're going to have a system in place to tag players. So if we play a game together, Greg, and you happen to have a PB Vision account, if I tag you, it's hopefully going to be able to find your account and associate this game with your account in the same way that
Oh, neat.
Duper would, so that you'll be able to see trends over time. So anyway, we've got these game overviews, and then our tabs go into team stats. So we've got a lot of real, pickleball specific information here, like kitchen arrival percentage, how often individual players are making it to the kitchen throughout the match, shot distribution, who's taking the majority of the shots, and if you're stacking, basically is kind of what this portion on the bottom says. And for anybody listening, if you want to go to check out the visual, just go to pb.vision and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about here. And then we've got it broken down into individual player stats too. So we can see serve speed, we can see drive speed, court coverage for the person, how much court you've covered. In this case, Ben Newell covered 1,056 feet. We can see
Wow.
that
cool.
in this
Yeah.
game in particular, it was more than the other players. So he was really he was the workhorse of the team for sure, but more so than all four. And then we're getting into things like serve, return, and depth. What percentage of your serves and returns are deep, right? Ideally, you want them all to be, but this gives you an indication of how you're doing in this particular match. And then we're getting into third shots. So we're tracking all of the third shots that occurred, whether they were drops, drives, or lobs, your approximate success rate, the approximate number of thirds that you hit in the match, where they landed, and you can kind of see the arc, the trajectory of the ball here too.
Hey, Mike, I got a quick
Yeah.
follow-up question
Yeah.
on, success rate. What is
Mhm.
considered success of a drop or yeah.
Well, for
Not
us
to get
right
too
now,
geeky on this, but I think it's pretty
what
interesting.
we're trying to fine tune these parameters, right? So it all has to be based on data. So anything, so we it's real easy to say anything that lands on my side of the court or that hits the net or that is out is not a success.
Okay.
The success rate, I believe what we're going for is we're basically drawing a virtual box around the kitchen line and into the kitchen, that says that either the ball should have bounced there or the ball should have been taken out of the air by the opponent in that general area. And we can
Mhm.
also see though the net height, so we know whether the opponent actually hit up on the ball. So we can kind of use that next shot as the success indicator of the prior third. So if I force my opponent to hit up on the ball, maybe maybe they're really tall. If that arc is going up, then that's maybe an indicator that it was
Mhm.
successful. So we're trying to get all that kind of fine tuned, and it's going to be a bit of a process, but yeah, all sorts of
Very
fun.
cool.
Yeah. So that's really the overview of the report, and we've got all sorts of stuff coming. So this this product is going to be a living, breathing thing. As we've got a treasure trove of data. It's our job to take that data and it's to put it into actionable insights or relevant insights. And as we get them, they're going to be added to these reports. So right now, we're working on a new one that can detect your movement, the player's movement when they're hitting the ball. So if you're nice and stable whenever you can be, you can get like let's say a higher rating on your stability index or whatever we want to call it. But if you're running through your shot, we can detect that.
I
So
need right.
um,
I need to get more stable, Mike. So I'm so
yeah, oh,
happy
me
you're
too,
putting that
me
in there.
too.
Yeah.
And so that's, once we get that figured out, that's being worked on in the background. It's going to be folded into these reports, new reports and past reports.
Oh.
So that's really exciting. So as these features kind of roll out, they're gonna be applied to everything in the past and everything after that. So It's
This
very
is
exciting. It's
so cool.
Really
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, this is amazing. And so, I'm looking at all of this and my mind is like spinning now thinking like how many different people can use this information in so many different ways. If you're
Hmm.
a coach, you
Hmm.
can easily use this for your players. If you are a social media influencer, you can easily have the gameplay with it already chopped up for you so you
Hmm.
can see the best parts of your game. This is
Yeah,
incredible.
that's the hope. This is the big thing is that this is not real time, right? Like you record your game, you hit upload. It right now it takes about an hour for us to create this report, and it's all automated. But there's a lot of processing. There's a lot of computer chips basically working behind the scene. Um, so there's a ton of data, but it's not. I don't know why I'm calling out our things that people necessarily wouldn't like, but it takes a while to get the data. But we think it's worth it. We think people stick around. For these highlights, we've got you can just simply share a link to a highlight. So whether you're posting on Instagram and say, "Oh, check out this rally," and then you just share a link directly to that highlight that's already been kind of chopped up for you. And then another really a big part that we're excited about is player profiles that are coming soon, where, like I was saying, you upload more than one video, then all of a sudden you get trends over time with your thirds, with your move to your stability index, or whatever we're calling that. All those stats that can be filtered by time and can be viewed over the last year, depending on how many videos you upload. So, anyway, if you can tell, I'm pretty excited about it too.
So the little that I know about video is it requires a lot of storage. And if
Mm-hmm,
there's a
hmm.
lot of different videos, let's say, like you play how many hours a week? If you're recording all of them, you're uploading all of them, you're getting them all sent back, is it just taking up a ton of space on your side, or how does that all
Yeah,
work?
it'll take up a good amount of space for us. That's a part of our business cost is storing videos for folks. It'll all be kind of rolled in. The bigger cost is actually processing the video.
Mm,
You have to use cloud um, GPUs, graphics processing units, and they're pretty expensive. Every AI model in the world right now wants to use these cloud GPUs, so demand has gone up. So yeah, there's definitely a cost associated with all this on our side. So it's not, it's not extravagant. It's not more than a lesson with a coach. It's not more than an individual hour-long session with a personal coach. Um, but yeah, it's there.
So it sounds like something that you have been using too to kind of like tinker through this and work out the kinks. How have you used this product to enhance your own game?
Well, it's been helpful for me in seeing when I need to be well. So the serve and return depth chart that I showed um, is a really interesting one because at first blush you would think that you would see improvement over time, but what I've noticed is that it's so game dependent and it's so dependent on who you're playing against. How hard they serve. If you're playing against a lower level player, you're going to get a lot more deep, and if you're playing against upper level players, you're gonna have a lot harder time. Um, well, at least with the returns. Um, so it's shown me kind of like it's brought some insights into my brain as far as what I need to be doing differently based on who I'm playing against, as far as returns go in particular. Um, and you know, the the number one priority is to get the ball over the net and the court. The number two priority, I think, is our opinion is depth. Um, but you have to you can't necessarily have the same strategy when you're playing against a higher level player that's serving harder or knows where to, is more precise. So that's been a pretty big portion that's come to light for me is just knowing when to really put more effort into that level of accuracy and when to back off a little bit. It's also been helpful with kind of visualizing my thirds. Um, I've noticed that my trajectory has been um, conducive to higher bouncing, and you know, think, oh great, I got it over and it bounced in the kitchen, but you get a high bounce and then it comes up above the net. That's like, well, that was not that great when that happens because they can still hit down on you, your opponents can. So um, that's been insightful too. It's helped
That
me
would
kind
be
of.
really
Mhm.
insightful because I noticed on my drops, sometimes they bounce too high and people can still be pretty aggressive. Even though I get I get the drop in the kitchen, they're still
Yep.
pretty aggressive with
Right.
the they come back and be pretty hard. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
because
So
it's
if the
just bouncing too high.
Yeah, so if it's less of a higher trajectory and slower and more of a, let's say, maybe just lower trajectory, you're not going to get that same big bouncing angle. Um, Also,
Yeah.
just kind of helping me understand the importance of getting at least a little bit of top spin on there as well to help, I think, kind of break that down, depending on, of course, the situation. So, yeah, it's been good for that. Really, the film review and chopping up the dead space has been great. I've recorded personally over 100 games of mine, and uh, it's a big task, going through and reviewing film. It takes a lot of time, so um, it saved me a lot of time in that regard too.
So over the weekend, I was playing and I kind of got tricked into playing singles. Is not I normally play singles. In fact, I rarely ever play singles. But I realized I was playing up against a pretty good player, a very good player, and I realized it's just a totally different game. Like the
Yeah.
importance of certain shots, like you're saying, depth was a huge deal in singles. Are you going to incorporate this for singles play as well?
Yes, we are, and we are also going to. So yes, it's coming. It's a much easier lift to go from doubles to singles than it is to go from singles to double from a tech standpoint. So that's coming, and we're also going to start incorporating drill sessions, which I think is going to be really cool. The if we're it- so one thought, and I can kind of show a little bit of work in progress here because I think it's worth sharing. um, if you are working with a ball machine, for example, and you are practicing your thirds, um, we'll have the option to track the balls coming just from you. So this is a little bit different than having multiple people on the court. The computer's looking for something different. Right now, we've told it to just look for my thirds, and don't judge me that these are not the greatest. But you can see it's just tracking all of them, and it's showing where all of them are landing. It's giving me a nice trajectory, and at the end of the day, I or a coach, we think this is going to be a great supplement for coaches, can kind of go back and look at one set of drills here, whether it's your thirds, your returns, your dinking, whatever it may be, and as long as you're following the set pattern for this drill, we can provide some really insightful feedback here as well. So yeah, singles is coming. Drills with ball machines and or a partner are coming, um, and profiles are coming as well. So you can imagine that something like this, just seeing this grouping of thirds that I've hit over here, um, over in this corner, you can see where all of them landed. Not the greatest, not the worst. You can see I probably hit four into the net, and then a couple of these I think were actually flukes where the machine didn't track the ball properly. So we would just kind of get rid of those two because they're statistically not important. But you can get a pretty good assessment of the skill level of a player, I think, just by simply looking at this chart and knowing that they were hitting drills from a ball machine that was,
That is so cool.
consistently hitting to the back of the court at
Yeah.
30, 35 miles an hour. You've got all these things to really make a pretty informed opinion about this player potentially.
This is like mind blowing to me
I
that you
know.
could do this just
Yeah.
from recording. And it makes me think because if you're not watching this, if you're only listening, on the screen, it does show where the ball lands on the court. So would this be something that you could do to have it recording while you're playing? And then if there is a discrepancy on a line call, if it was in or out, would this be able to kind of show you if it was or wasn't?
No. And the reason I
Dang.
just say an emphatic no, and the reason I just say an emphatic no right now is that I don't think the tech is there to be able to do that any better than a human eye could really, unless, of course, you both happen to not be looking, or all four people happen to
I
not be
see.
looking,
Mhm.
which does happen from time to time, right? As we all know. But um, so this is a smartphone camera. It's just, an iPhone 13, whatever. Um, in the back here, the the far side of the court is nowhere near as accurate as the close side of the court as well.
Oh,
So
okay.
um, when you're talking about line calling, and it's always a matter of inches, right, or less than inches, um, a system like this can't outperform a human eye, I don't think. Hawkeye that they're using in Wimbledon, right, is um, a multi-thousand-dollar system with 12 different cameras from all different angles, and that's the level of infrastructure that they really need in order to have VAR be um, well, it has to be better than a human eye, right? It has to be better than all these line judges that they have standing there. So we're not trying to go there yet because I just don't think it's ready for it yet. I wish it was, um, but I don't think it's ready. There's just the cameras aren't quite good enough. I would not be surprised if in 5 years, that the cameras on all of our phones get better to the point where we can potentially rely on them. iPhone has this new stereo camera on their brand new phone that has basically two lenses to give you stereo vision when you put on the new Apple headset. You can, that's
Yeah.
that's how you get that 3D effect. Is it's
Yeah.
the same thing as the blue red lenses from back in the day. So, long-winded answer to your question, Brittany, is I hope we can eventually, but it's just not quite there yet. That's not the cards for us, and I think the analytics are more interesting anyway.
Yeah.
Well, maybe another hope is, can you use this technology maybe as, or maybe to enhance? You mentioned Duper earlier, the whole rating
Mhm.
Mhm.
system, and there's a lot of great things about Duper. I mean, it's the number one rating system that pickleball is using right now. There are
Mhm.
some flaws with it, right? And I could
Mhm.
see that this technology could really enhance just the whole rating system in general.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a data and examples of how a player performs, I think that's always going to be superior to another system that may be inferring skill level based on something like results of a match.
Mhm.
Um, we hope that we can really pretty quickly be able to get a pretty solid idea of a player's rating based on our data. Uh, just from that one little video that we saw right there, there's a lot to tell about me as a player, right? You could probably pretty easily tell that I'm, between a 3.5 and a 4.0 in that particular case. I wasn't trying hard at all, I swear. But I was like, there was just a lot of certain elements there
Mhm.
that you can see. And so when you go through and you have 1,000 different examples of people doing what I was doing, and they're all labeled by various skill sets, right? Where we tell the computer, like, out of these 1,000 people, this person's a 2.5, a 3.5, a 3.0, a 3.2, whatever. It's then able to compare against that data set of 1,000 videos against a new player. So
Right,
you can do that in
right.
all aspects, and it's because really that's all it's doing is it's comparing what's in its memory to what you've submitted that's new. So I think we can do it. I think we're going to be in a really good position to rate players. I hope.
Yeah, totally seems like it.
Mhm.
So far out of the users and the feedback that you've gotten, what's been some of like the highlights? Because this is amazing. And I think right now
Well,
you perfect platform to brag about what's been going on.
yeah, and I probably should have said this up front, but what I've been showing today is our Generation 2 release, which is March 15th is our launch. We currently have a proof of concept product that is at pb.vision and app.pb.vision. Um, but it's I would say it's nowhere near as sophisticated as what's coming here. So the current system will show some depth data. It's just not. It was I would say it was in its adolescent phase, and it's not quite it's not quite an adult yet. So I think what's launching here on March 15th is going to be the real big game changer, and one that we're going to hear a lot about, and that we're going to be telling the world about and really shouting as loud as we can. We've got a scalable infrastructure built up so that whether it's one person or 10,000 people processing videos, it'll all happen simultaneously by spinning up new computers in the cloud, which is a really big deal. Um, and we've just got more info. So I think the big feedback is yet to come, or the big, uh, utilization of this and people folding it into their game. Um, so yet to be seen. I think we've got a couple thousand videos that have been uploaded so far. So we've got a good user base. Our Discord gets pretty decent traffic, um, but we just haven't been. I mean, one of the reasons I decided to come on the podcast is we've got this launch coming, and so we're really going to start, hopefully driving users towards the product and hopefully getting it in people's hands. Um, yeah, so soon.
So what is the best way? We're recording, it's not March 15th yet. When people listen
Yeah,
to this, they're going to mark it on their calendar. They better be marking it. When
sure,
March
sure.
15th hit or they're past March 15th, what's the best way for them to get this product?
Yeah, so just go if you want a automated reminder, just go to pb.vision and shoot your email in the email sign up form there. There's a little newsletter front and center. Um, and we'll send out, don't worry, we will remind you, before March 15th this is coming out. But if not, if you don't want to sign up for the newsletter, just go to the website pb.vision on the 15th, and you'll see the link there, and have and beforehand, if you want to prepare, you can go record a game. We have video tips on the website that kind of show how the court should be framed, what a good quality recording looks like. You can have your footage ready to go, and then just you know upload it on the 15th. And by the way, there's no cost for this in the short term. This is all, we're getting this up and running and into people's hands and polished and iterated on before we do any kind of subscription model or cost per video or whatnot. And even then, we're planning on having a lot of features that are free forever, and it'll be more like the premium analytics that we'll probably end up charging for. That's a little bit to be determined yet, but we just want to get into people's hands and hopefully get people improving their game as quick as they can.
Well, Bridgie and I are going to be doing a lot of games this week. We're going to record some.
Yes.
Great.
March 15th, we're loading them. We
Nice.
cannot wait to see how we perform.
No
See our
pressure.
stats.
We
Yeah, I
will be
know.
ready, and our servers will not go down. I hope there are a lot of people, and we're ready for it. We're incredibly excited. We've got a upcoming tournament we're sponsoring, and we'll have a lot more. We'll be around a lot more publicly too. We've got PPA coming here in Minnesota next month, so I'll be down there for that. Just watching the games, really. We're not doing anything from wearing a shirt. So if anybody sees me, come say hi.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on our show. We're going to do one last toast. This will be
All
our
right.
third shot. And cheers
cool.
to PB Vision and this amazing technology. And we are super excited.
Yeah, we are.
I'm sure everyone else is going to be super excited too.
Okay.
Good luck on the launch.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers to you, Bridget, Greg.
Thank you
Greatly
so much for
appreciate it.
coming on.
Yeah, if you want to have me again anytime, I'll be around. Just let me know.
Oh, we will.
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
We'll definitely have you back. And all you listening and watching, I highly encourage, if you do have the opportunity, go to YouTube and check this specific episode out. I think there's a lot of visuals. You'll actually get to see what Mike is talking about. Got some great videos, and you get to see the graphs and some of the stats that he was going over. I think it'll really show you what kind of feedback you're going to get with the PB Vision technology. So I encourage you to do that. If not, thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting this show. We will continue to have fantastic guests just like Mike on future episodes, and keep sharing your experiences with us, because we want to just keep building this pickleball community. So thank you so much for watching and listening. See you next time on Third Shot Podcast.